At 23, Angelina Jolie's son Maddox finally confirmed the rumors surrounding his famous family. Shocking revelations about his adoption, the strained relationship between his parents, and the truth about his relationship with Brad Pitt. What Maddox shared will shock you. Watch to completely change what you think about this family. And let's start the story from when Jolie adopted Maddox. Angelina Jolie and actor Billy Bob Thornton's marriage was a whirlwind romance that began with the adoption of their son Maddox. Their love was like a storm, intense, unpredictable, and hard to ignore. They got married in a surprise ceremony in Las Vegas on May 5, 2000, just 2 months after they began dating. Although they first met on the set of Pushing Tin in 1999, the timing was not ideal for either of them. Thornton was engaged to actress Laura Dern, while Jolie was in a relationship with Timothy Hutton. Although they each went their separate ways, the attraction between Jolie and Thornton was undeniable. Their relationship was not only passionate, but also adventurous. One of the most notable aspects of their relationship was the fact that they wore vials of each other's blood around their necks, which brought them constant media attention. Their image evoked rebellion and difference, making them the focus of the press throughout their time. Something more profound was occurring in the background, though, as the world was enthralled by their enthusiasm. The adoption of a kid was a decision that would change Jolie's life. While they were in the midst of their passionate affair, she started the adoption procedure for a baby boy named Maddox from Cambodia. She would never be the same after making that choice. Many were curious about Billy Bob's role as the next chapter loomed. Might he handle fatherhood? Was the couple's romance starting to cool down behind closed doors, despite how heated it was publicly? In addition to being an emotionally taxing ordeal, Angelina Jolie's path to adopt Maddox was fraught with obstacles and surprises. She went to Cambodia twice, once for a filming assignment for Lara Croft, Tomb Raider in 2001, and again for a field expedition with the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. That's when it all started. Jolie felt a strong connection to the nation and a strong desire to aid its children after both visits. With her husband Billy Bob Thornton by her side, Jane made her way back to Cambodia in November 2001. They went to a Battambang orphanage together. Maddox Chivan, a newborn boy of 7 months, was their unexpected visitor. The small child and Jolie had an instant connection, and Jolie chose to adopt him. They were so happy to have him join their family that they started the paperwork. Yet destiny had the adoption procedure abruptly ended in December 2001, a little month afterward. Concerned about allegations of child trafficking in Cambodia, the US government outright prohibited adoptions from the nation. Everything got murky, and Jolie's want to be Maddox's mother was shelved. The situation was exacerbated when Jolie's trusted adoption facilitator was found guilty of several major offenses, such as visa fraud and money laundering. There was already a lot of tension, and the controversy just made things worse. Jolie, nevertheless, was resolute in the face of the mayhem that engulfed her. When the dust settled, the judge ruled that Jolie's adoption of Maddox had been within the law. Despite everything, her relationship with Maddox was legitimate and acknowledged by the law. However, being a mother was not an easy journey. It was a difficult road, but Jolie proved her mettle and will to become Maddox's mother. Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie made a major announcement in March 2002. They were a couple who were adopting a kid. Their already great public adoration appeared to take a firmer hold at that point. However, chaos was brewing behind the scenes. A profound shift occurred in their relationship as little as 3 months later. After beginning the adoption process with Thornton's support, Jolie found herself unexpectedly facing the challenges of being a single parent. The once inseparable pair was now officially splitting up. Their ways of life had become too dissimilar, so Thornton decided to file for divorce. Since they had been so forthright about their love for one another, this caught everyone by surprise. Their abrupt breakup left admirers puzzling about how something so intense could fizzle out so quickly. The official termination of their brief marriage was marked by the finalization of the divorce on May 27, 2003. Now that Jolie is a single parent, she adopted Maddox. Although it wasn't easy, it was a courageous move. In an emotionally wrenching interview, Jolie spoke up about the unexpected breakup of her marriage to Billy Bob Thornton. Her confession was, Overnight, we underwent a complete transformation, which caught me off guard as well. Suddenly, she said, they went from being deeply in love to having absolutely nothing in common. Looking back, she remarked, it's terrifying how fast relationships may fizzle out when people rush into them without fully understanding who they are. This part of her story, which had been wrought with love and tragedy, was still very much ongoing. Nevertheless, it was a watershed moment in Jolie's narrative, ushering in her ascent to the status of a dedicated mother and a woman discovering her authentic herself within the mayhem. It was always Angelina Jolie's lifelong dream to adopt a kid. Angelina had unconventional aspirations, in contrast to the typical ambitions of young ladies who hope to become mothers. The concept of being an orphan, a kid without parents, was something she absorbed at a young age. She yearned to build a family, one that would span continents and generations, not limited to her own people. I couldn't wait to find my family across the world and bring us all together and establish a home when I was pretty little and learned about what an orphan was, she once stated. She carried this aspiration within her, patiently awaiting its realization. The time had come when she cradled Maddox, the Cambodian child, in her arms. Before becoming a mother, Angelina's life sometimes felt out of control. She tended to sink into a dark abyss, experiencing feelings of depression and loss of direction. Maddox brought a new light into her life, and she found a purpose to become stronger. As a mother, she could no longer lose herself. Everything was different when she became a mother to a child who depended on her. Angelina admitted how becoming a mother changed her personal life. She said that the connection she shared with Maddox was unlike anything else she had ever experienced in her life. It was something pure, deep, and powerful. She had never felt a sense of purpose in her life before becoming a mother. She is not just a famous actress, Angelina Jolie. Being a mother to Maddox is the most important thing in her life. Amidst the madness of Hollywood, where fame and fortune can sometimes push people down the wrong path, Maddox became her rock. He helped her maintain her balance by showing her that a love so powerful it redefined her. From that moment on, the love she felt for her son became the compass that guided her every choice and action. It was no longer about her. It was a love that grew stronger with each passing day. The growth of the family she was building and the life she was shaping. Angelina had been known for being wild and reckless in the past, but Maddox revealed a different side to her. Her transformation from a free-spirited actress to a devoted mother was witnessed by the world right before their eyes. Her love for Maddox was unlike any other love she had ever experienced. It was love that saved her, healed her, and gave her a promising future. Brad Pitt's relationship with the actor in 2005, Angelina Jolie and her son Maddox, saw a profound change in their lives when Brad Pitt became a part of their lives. When allegations began to circulate that Angelina Jolie was the reason behind Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston's dramatic split, she found herself in the middle of a storm. During that time, she was the center of attention. While filming for Mr. and Mrs. Smith was underway, the media made numerous accusations that Angelina was interfering in the relationship between the married couple. This only exacerbated the drama that was going on off-screen. Despite the fact that the film brought Jolie and Pitt together, and there was a clear connection between them on screen. Although Jolie claimed that she fell in love with Pitt while they were working on the film, she has vehemently denied allegations that they had an affair while Pitt was still married to Aniston. Drawing on her painful past, Angelina has been open and candid about the intensity of her feelings about the script. She said that at the time my father was cheating on my mother, I could not forgive him for being intimate with a married man. If I did, I would not be able to see myself when I woke up in the morning. Attracting a man who cheats on his wife is not something I would consider doing. Despite her strong and clear statement, the rumors continued. Since Jolie and Pitt did not make any public statements about their relationship for several months, the world was left to speculate. It was inevitable that Brad would eventually become a part of Maddox's life as he became more and more involved in Angelina's. Brad was not only entering a romantic relationship with Angelina, but also taking the first steps into a family. And Maddox would be a key player in the ongoing revolution. When they initially met, Brad and Maddox were just beginning to get to know one another. As a small child, Maddox had grown accustomed to the fact that he and his mother were the only ones present. The passage of time, however, brought about a remarkable occurrence. the relationship between Maddox and Brad started to develop. Together, they engaged in activities, exchanged experiences, and developed trust. In a gradual but steady manner, Brad transitioned from being Mom's boyfriend to becoming someone Maddox genuinely cared for. Next, the day arrived when everything changed. In a manner that was both plain and innocent, Maddox began addressing Brad as his father. It was a straightforward word, yet it conveyed an immense amount of meaning. In Angelina's life, it was an indication that Brad had evolved into something better than a simple male figure. To Maddox, he had taken on the role of a father figure. With just that one word, Dad, the Jolie Pitt family was officially established, marking the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. This was a moment that Angelina will never forget. The fact that she had raised her kid all by herself meant that he now had someone else to look up to and depend on. She and Maddox were no longer the only ones involved. They had accepted Brad as a member of their family. Daily, the three of them became closer to one another, and their friendship became stronger. Angelina and Maddox were no longer the only two between them. At this point, they were a unified family, known as the Jolie Pitts. Brad was more than simply a well-known actor. An adoring father to Maddox and a committed spouse to Angelina, he was developing into both of these roles. Brad made yet another decision that would alter the course of his life as their relationship became increasingly serious. Maddox was someone he desired to take in as his own. By taking this action, he was making it quite apparent that he was committed not just to Angelina, but also to her kid. Angelina Jolie submitted a petition in January 2006 to alter her husband's surname from Jolie to Jolie Pitt following the law. Almost immediately, the request was granted, which resulted in the family being formally united under a single name. Beginning at an early age, Maddox began to demonstrate an interest in the professions pursued by his parents. He did not want to merely observe the performance from the sidelines. Rather, he desired to take part in the action. In 2013, his father directed the film World War Z, in which he had a brief appearance as a zombie without receiving any credit for his work. This was his first experience in Hollywood. Even though it was a little role, it was a significant turning point for Maddox, because it provided him with a window into the world of filmmaking, which his parents were quite familiar with. That was not the end of Maddox's actions. At the tender age of 15, he took on a challenge that was much more difficult, making the transition to executive producer. In no way was this a typical undertaking. It was made initially. They Killed My Father is a film that Angelina Jolie has made that is highly personal to her. It is based on the book written by her close friend Lung Ong. The movie centered on the genocide that occurred in Cambodia, and for Maddox, who was born in Cambodia, it was an opportunity to connect with his native country in a meaningful way. Making a movie was not the only important thing. It was also about gaining knowledge of his heritage and paying respect to the history of the people. When Maddox was asked about his experience working on the movie, he responded by saying, "I was trying to help wherever I could." Not only was he present in name, but he was actively participating in the process, eager to learn and make a good contribution. This was more than just a job for Maddox. It was an opportunity to help out his mother, whom he looked up to very much. In response to a question on Angelina's directing abilities, Maddox was effusive. "She's a marvel," he remarked, "and she's also entertaining, humorous, and easy to collaborate with." He had a special relationship with his mother that extended beyond blood ties. Their love for cinema and narrative was contagious. Brad was there for his son Maddox every step of the way as he achieved success in the film industry. Brad wanted more than simply for Maddox to carry on his family's work. He wanted his children to experience something more. If you listen to what Brad had to say during his interview at the 2020 Oscars, he wants people to follow their bliss, which means doing what they're most passionate about. He believed in letting his children find their happiness rather than forcing them into anything. Although Angelina and Brad encouraged Maddox to follow his passion, he found a natural match in the film industry. They were always there for him, hoping for the best for him in whatever he did, be it acting, producing, or something completely else entirely. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were once considered the ideal Hollywood pair. They were famous, wealthy, and surrounded by attractive people. Moreover, they had a strong bond that the entire world could feel. However, 2016 was the year the hope was suddenly dashed. That year, on September 19th, Angelina filed for a divorce, surprising everyone and making headlines all over the world. For what reason? She said there were irreconcilable conflicts. However, the reality behind the scenes was far more sinister than anybody had anticipated. The family's private jet journey from France back to Los Angeles on September 14th was the last straw. A once ordinary family vacation became a living nightmare in an instant. This flight was the turning point. Newly disclosed information in Angelina's court filings is much more concerning. Before that flight, she said that Brad had a history of physically abusing her, but something unexpected occurred on that nerve-wracking voyage. For the first time, Brad allegedly became aggressive toward their children. This was something far more concerning than a simple disagreement or misunderstanding inside the family. The relationship's flaws became more apparent as the jet soared over the sky. After attempting to keep it all together, Angelina finally accepted the fact that there was no going back. Their marriage was destroyed and their children's safety was jeopardized by what transpired on that flight. Angelina realized she had to take action at this very time. The public has long perceived them as a unified front, a multi-generational family brimming with love and excitement. But suddenly, all of that was falling apart. Not only did Angelina leave her husband, but she also fought to keep her children safe from the guy who had been their hero in the past. The divorce papers exposed a side of Brad Pitt that many people couldn't believe existed. It was very different from the endearing and respected actor that everyone believed they knew. It became evident that Angelina was hell-bent on exposing the truth and protecting her children as the court battle commenced. What began as a whimsical narrative soon devolved into a fierce struggle for existence, but Angelina remained resolute, willing to endure whatever it took to safeguard her family. As the once beautiful pair squared off, their love story was eclipsed by accusations, grief, and treachery, leaving the world in a state of anticipation. A look into the motivation behind Angelina Jolie's divorce filing came when her lawyer stepped out, explaining that the choice was taken for the family's health. Angelina left Brad for more than just herself. She did it to keep her children safe. The attorney further requested that the public respect their privacy at this difficult time and stated that she would not be making any further statements. The pain was visible on Brad Pitt's face. Simultaneously, he issued a statement conveying his profound sorrow about the breakup. With words brimming with grief, Brad expressed his profound sadness about this. Though his marriage was falling apart, he never stopped thinking about their children. He made it plain that their safety was his top priority at the moment. Adding, "The health of our children is our priority right now," he begged the media to stop interfering with the family. Now that they were facing something so intimate and hurtful, the once perfect Hollywood couple was requesting seclusion. Maddox College. One thing became very evident as time went on, following the shocking breakup of Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Maddox Chivan Jolie Pitt, their son, was developing into an exceptional young guy. Maddox spoke publicly about his mother in 2017, praising her. The profound significance of his remarks reflected not just her exceptional parenting abilities, but also her fame as an actor. Angelina was very proud of her firstborn son, Maddox, who had grown up to mean a lot to her. In 2019, when Maddox turned 23, Angelina gushed over him. She spoke about her joy for Maddox's maturation into a nice guy in an interview with Entertainment Tonight. There was a blend of happiness and relief in her voice. And I say that because he's balanced in his adolescence. He's brilliant and he works hard. But he's also wild, she went on to remark. The descriptions of Maddox's voyage that she provided were very detailed. She had taken him in as more than simply a Cambodian orphan. A robust and perceptive guy, he was forging his path while wholeheartedly embracing life's more exuberant aspects. Angelina was happy to see him as he balanced being a responsible teenager with enjoying life to the fullest. There was a more complex backstory to these statements spoken by this proud mother. From the difficulties of her marriage and subsequent divorce to the demands of her stardom, Angelina had endured an incredible amount of hardship. The strength that came from her relationship with Maddox, though, endured all of it. An apparent feeling of tension pervaded her thoughts as she considered Maddox's development. How would he go from here? How about he forges his path, or does he want to emulate his renowned mother? Maddox was more than a son to Angelina. She could see her dreams reflected in him. His mother's strength was on full display with each stride he made. For Maddox Chivan Jolie Pitt, 2019 marked the beginning of a fresh chapter. When he enrolled in college in South Korea, he was entering a realm ripe with opportunity. Angelina Jolie could not help but back her husband's thrilling path, driven by his enthusiasm for biotechnology. With the words, "I'm nothing but proud," she gushed over her son. "Whatever he does, I am looking forward to it." Maddox was accepted to many institutions, but he ultimately decided to attend Yonsei University. His boldness and eagerness to take on new challenges were on full display in this choice. Preparing for his studies, he dove headfirst into learning Korean, attending classes several times a week to fully immerse himself in the culture and improve his communication skills in his new home. As Angelina sent Maddox off to Seoul University in August 2019, a moving scene transpired. There was joy and a hint of melancholy throughout the day. As Angelina embraced her kid to say goodbye, she confessed to having an embarrassing, ugly weep. She subsequently talked about the event. Knowing how significant this milestone was for Maddox, she treasured the moment even if it brought tears to her eyes. According to her recollection, the most lovely part was how everyone said farewell. As she observed her children encouraging one another, her heart overflowed with love. They made a touching display of family love as they wrote letters, hugged each other, and provided words of support. Angelina had an overwhelming sense of relief at that same moment. Despite their physical separation, she was confident in her children's unbreakable link. "I was filled with eagerness and tension as I watched Maddox go out on this new journey. If he attended Yonsei University, what would he achieve there? Is there a way he could adjust to South Korean culture? Would he keep flourishing and developing?" With each unanswered question, a future brimming with possibilities was hinted at. Not only did Maddox take his hopes and goals with him into the unknown, but he also took his family's love and support. As Angelina observed, her emotions fluctuated between heavy and light, for she knew that Maddox would confront any obstacles that came his way with bravery and resolve. Everyone was excited to see where this incredible trip would take him. This was only the start. As the COVID-19 virus ravaged the Earth in 2020, everything changed. There was a drastic change in the way pupils learned since schools were closed. After flourishing at South Korea's Yonsei University, Maddox Chivan Jolie Pitt encountered an unforeseen obstacle. Returning to Los Angeles, he had no choice except to study remotely. Hard news hit. Living in South Korea, immersing himself in his academics, and experiencing a new culture were all things that thrilled Maddox. However, things had changed. The exciting new chapter of his life had been temporarily halted now that he was back home. Uncertainty concerning the epidemic put a damper on his aspirations. Angelina Jolie, who was Maddox's mother, had a range of feelings. She could feel the strain he was experiencing. Still, she managed to see the positive side of things. Donga Daily published an interview in which she spoke well of Maddox's college decision. She expressed her immense happiness over Mad's university choice in a warm and welcoming voice. "Maddox will not be changing schools," she told everyone. When he felt secure enough, he would go back to South Korea. The joy felt by Jolie's family at this moment was also shared with the world. She continued by saying that the whole family is overjoyed that Maddox's education will give them the chance to learn more about South Korea. Her remarks conveyed a sense of optimism. Despite the difficulties, they would have the opportunity to immerse themselves in the local culture and learn more about the nation. Maddox got into his new pattern of taking classes online as the epidemic raged on. He was resolute in the face of uncertainty. With unwavering support, his family stood by his side throughout his journey. At regular intervals, they would talk about his schoolwork, and Maddox would fill her in on his adventures in Korea, bringing a little bit of his trip back with him. The days were filled with both exhilaration and excruciating pain. Maddox longed for the college life he had come to like and for the company of his pals. But Maddox, encouraged by his mother, learned to adapt and thrive despite his hardships. With unwavering determination, he persisted in his studies, refusing to allow the epidemic to dampen his aspirations. Little things brought the family delight as they prepared Korean meals, practiced the language, and planned future trips to Maddox's favorite places in Korea. The Journey to Cambodia by Maddox Cambodia is a special location for Angelina Jolie and her son Maddox, and the Jolies have always had a close connection to the country. She made a significant move to recognize this connection. As a unique present, she purchased a house in Cambodia for Maddox so that he would have somewhere to stay whenever he went to his homeland. This mansion was more than simply a place. It was a link to his heritage and the people who had an impact on his life. In his explorations of Cambodia and its rich history, Maddox frequently returned to the country. Working on the film First They Killed My Father with his mother, though, was when the actual journey started. She spoke highly of him in a 2017 interview with People. Although he often travels to Cambodia, this would be more than 4 months of uninterrupted immersion in the country, during which he would study, listen, and absorb every aspect of his culture and nation, even the most horrific aspects. When this happened, Maddox felt it deeply. The gloom she described was the eerie past of the Khmer Rouge, a time of brutality and anguish. The good and the ugly of Maddox's nation were both something Angelina wanted him to know. Her faith was in his sagacity and might. As she spoke, her voice betrayed her unwavering faith in her son, Mad. If he said he was ready, I knew he knew, she concluded. During his 4 months in Cambodia, Maddox learned about his people's history and the hardships they endured. There was an exhilarating and weighty sense of kinship as he strolled the same streets his forebears had traveled. He felt an ever-increasing bond to the place with each tale he heard and the fact he discovered. To ensure Cambodia's success, Jolie did everything she could. Intending to bolster the nation's infrastructure, healthcare, education, and ecology, she established the Maddox Chivan Foundation. A ray of hope, this non-profit worked to better the lives of many Cambodians. As a couple, Jolie and Maddox wanted to find a way to repay the land that had blessed them. The people, he grinned and explained, were his favorite part about Cambodia. They were quiet and collected when he was around, but they let loose when they wanted to party. It's funny, he said. Since they're so much like me, being a Cambodian is an honor. Angelina Jolie was taken aback by Maddox's surprising array of interests and skills as he delved more into his culture. She proudly stated that he is incredibly capable and never fails to amaze her. In addition to being a famous child, Maddox was forging his path in life. He just developed a strong interest in flying. Although Angelina felt anxious, he was elated by the idea. The day she received the call regarding Maddox's flying lessons was fresh in her mind. She recalled receiving a call the previous day with the words, "So Mad can go solo," and her pulse raced with a mixture of exhilaration and concern. She almost dropped the phone. Finally, the time had come for Maddox to take flight solo. With the wind whipping around him and his pulse racing with anticipation, he stood at the airstrip. He was finally ready to soar into the air on his own after all his hard work in training. As he climbed into the cockpit, he inhaled deeply, prepared to face this exciting journey. The earth underneath him vanished as he lifted off, and a limitless expanse of sky stretched out before him. In his euphoric flight into the air, Maddox experienced a surge of vitality and the pure delight of liberation. He was learning more than simply how to fly an aeroplane. He was learning his own identity. As she stood on the ground, Angelina's pride grew. Observing her kid soar to new heights let her understand that he was maturing into an extraordinary young man, and not only because of her notoriety. Looking up at him brought a rush of joy to her, since she knew he was following his heart. The adventure of Maddox was only getting started. As he continued to study and develop, he would also venture into new avenues. What do you think about Maddox's revelations? Are Brad Pitt's assault allegations true? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you and see you in the next videos.